everybody, Jewel back again with Truth in Aspect Astrology, and we are talking about Venus conjunct Pluto in the composite chart and what this is like, how this feels when this shows up between two people. So a composite chart is a chart that takes all the midpoints between the two people's planets or more people, but we're really, in this series really focusing on romantic relationships. The midpoints between all the planets and the points of two different charts, we find, the middle ground, and really shows, how two people feel about a relationship, how it shows up. It's really the birth chart of the relationship itself is what we get from that. And this series of videos applies to the Davison relationship chart as well. So Venus, in a composite chart is really about the love nature, the softness, the sensuality, the aesthetic appreciation between a couple has very much to do with how the feelings of love are displayed and acted out between two people. And Pluto is very much, the power between two people. Pluto in anybody's chart, even, a natal chart, is really the battery pack of the natal chart. It's, where the reservoir of our power and our desires, our deep desires and our deepest cravings for control, power, all those things represents the unconscious, very much so, and things of the 8th house, very much Pluto. So in a composite chart, when we have Venus and Pluto coming together in conjunction, this really represents two people that have a very similar love nature to begin with. And they have come together, and it is a very intense union when we have this going on. Any aspects between Venus and Pluto in a composite chart are really showing that there is a depth of feeling here. These people feel very, very strongly about each other. And Pluto and Venus in conjunction are really interesting because we can often see these people start out, knowing each other, and then there can be some distance, time involved, and they can come back together. Very common with Pluto conjunct Venus. This reoccurring theme of coming back together over time. It's a very, very heavily karmic tie. These people, if you believe in karma, if you believe in past lives, these people have had a lot to do with each other in the past. And there have been very intense feelings, very intense involvement in the past, and they are back to meet up again and to experience some of the rewards of having been together in the past. This is an intense union between these people. I mean, they normally, come together very fast, and they feel very close, very bonded, very much like they can show each other their ugly, like they can be their true selves in front of each other. This is not like the square or the opposition, where there is a fear of, actually, showing all that one is because you're going to be shut down by the Pluto person. It is not like that when we have the conjunction. There is a real rawness associated with the relating between the two people. And it's a real honesty between the two. Now, they are very sexually attracted to each other. They have a very similar sexual nature, and the sexual relating within a Venus conjunct Pluto composite relationship is very important. It is one of the purposes of the relationship, is to experience depth of sexual communication, depth of sexual contact with each other. To really experience the intense feelings involved in a deeply intimate and sexual relationship. So the sexuality tends to take on this very intense tone, and they tend to try to go for that every time. Well, thing is, in long-term partnerships or in committed partnerships, after you've done somebody 200-300 times, there ain't no mystery left. So it's like once the intensity can start to leak out of the relationship, they can try to do things unconsciously to keep that going. So this is when some game playing and some domination and some control issues can come into it. It is not about not loving each other and about wanting to control each other like in a difficult Venus-Pluto configuration. It is really about wanting to keep that intensity going because they come to associate that intensity with love. So as we fall into a pattern, or as we spend more time with each other, or as we get to know each other better physically, emotionally, mentally, and the drudgery of the day-to-day starts to come in, we can see these people start to play some games with each other. So it is a very unconscious thing when we have Pluto and Venus together in any configuration. There is a lot of unconscious energy that comes up. They can start to do things to annoy each other, to control each other, to make each other jealous, to manipulate each other, so they can maintain that intense involvement. It's very difficult when one of the partners takes their focus, elsewhere, or some of the focus starts to dissipate or normalize, and the other partner can get very threatened by that, and start to do things to bring their focus back. Now, these can be negative things. Pluto and Venus in a composite chart, Pluto with anything under the sun in a composite chart or in synastry or in the natal, it just acts in an unconscious fashion because it really represents that's what it's about. So people do things that are very inexplicable to them when they are in these types of relationships. They will say things, do things, and afterwards question their own motives. Like, why did I do that? Well, it's it's erupting from a very unconscious place. So the conjunction has people doing this in a very subtle fashion. And it is very much, about keeping each other's focus on each other. So really the way to get around this one is to, number one, recognize that you have this aspect between you. And number two, assure each other that you are not losing interest, that you are not going to disappear, that you are not going to abandon them. Because both people, when we have this going on, are equally intensely involved. They feel very strongly about each other. It isn't like the Pluto opposite Venus, where we have one chasing and one running, or the square, we have constant tension. It is, they can be on the same page when we have this conjunction. It is still a Plutonic relationship. It can manifest in unhealthy ways. Typically, we have a better chance of getting around that with the conjunction because the people are very much in agreement about their own ugly. So, it's, the bottom line is really recognizing that you're probably going to play games with each other from time to time when we have this conjunction. Try not to do it. Now, it is not as compulsive as with the square or with the opposition. You can do something about it. It is something that you can come to recognize as manipulative behavior out of oneself. at first, when we're in this relationship and we're experiencing this aspect, I highly doubt that you're going to be able to consciously pick out your own behaviors. But over time, this one really does let one see for oneself one's own part of what the hell is going on and what the problem is, and gives the two people a more conscious and easier chance of changing the way that they deal with their partner so that they can maintain this relationship in a realistic fashion that is not harmful to the relationship, where we're not creating drama for the sake of creating intensity. We are accepting, that sometimes, the dishes just got to get done and the laundry's got to get folded and there's just nothing really exciting going down that day. And we don't need to, force an argument or say something that is, offensive and then have to, back up. Well, that's not what I meant. And then we have an argument going on. And we don't need to do these things, in order to, keep that sense of intense relating together. We can do healthy things. We can walk together after dinner and chat and talk. We can hold hands and sit by the fire. We can set time aside. We can do certain activities that are intense and do them together. So there's a bonding through intensity, which Venus and Pluto love. So this is an aspect that is more easily integrated into a healthy relationship than other Venus and Pluto aspects. Is really the quintile is actually pretty fun too. The Venus quintile, Pluto, but really those are the only two that. Well, Venus sextile and trine to Pluto as well. Those are easy. And bring that appropriate intensity and power into the relationship, and we'll get to those too, but I'm just starting with the more difficult aspects because I just have a feeling that there are more of us out there that have been injured by these types of relationships. So this is my analysis of Venus conjunct Pluto in the composite chart. Hope you enjoyed this. Please subscribe to my channel if you have not, and I will be back with lots more videos, thousands and thousands of videos. I'm probably going to be up to 15 or 20,000 videos by the time I'm done, so I can just cover every combination. You can find me on the internet at truthandaspectastrology.com and on Facebook, which I do lots of writing, lots of articles. I put up a daily birthday description, lots of cool stuff over on Facebook at Truth in Aspect Astrology. Yes, I do private consultation all the time. I specialize in romance, partner, and intimacy astrology, astrological compatibility, but I interpret all types of charts under the sun. So I'll be back soon. Bye-bye.